All right, so we're starting section 4.1, day 2. We just have a couple of them here to do. So to graph, so we're going to graph one, and then we're going to look at how to sketch one by just the words that we are given. So first one, to graph a polynomial function, first plot points to determine the shape of the graph's middle portion. Then connect the points with a smooth continuous curve. So my example is graph f of x is equal to x cubed plus x squared minus 4x plus 2. So remember, I told you just to choose a couple of points. So I put -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So when I plug it in, ladies and gentlemen, what I would see is I would have, if I plug in -2, remember, I keep telling you whenever I plug something in, I put it in parentheses. So I'm just going to let you know what my answers are here. So I got 6. I got 6 for -1. I got 2. Well, that one should make sense, right? Because that's our y-intercept. And then I got 0 here, and I got 6 here. All right, so now I'm going to plot all those points. So at -2, I have 6. At 1, I have 6. At 0, I have 2. At 1, I have 0. And at 2, I have 6. All right, so now it says to connect the points with the smooth continuous curve. So again, right now, it doesn't have to be perfect. I'm not asking you for the maximum or minimum, but I know that somewhere in here, in between those two, at -2 and -1, there is going to be a point where it's going to go higher. So I know right here, I'm going to have something like that. All right, and again, I'm going to go wherever I see something, I go through that, and then I'm going to have to change direction here. So I'm going to make a smooth curve. And again, here is our in behavior. All right, so now, I just said in behavior, so check in behavior. So from yesterday, what is our degree on this? Well, our leading one is 3, so we know our degree is odd. And what is our leading coefficient? Well, on that one, you should be able to tell me it's positive. So does it follow what we learned yesterday? So as x goes to -infinity, from yesterday, we learned that f of x should be going to -infinity. And we learned that as x goes to positive infinity, when the leading coefficient is positive, f of x should be going to the positive. And if you look at it on this one here, that is exactly what it's doing, so we're good. All right? So now the next one here, they're just going to ask you by their description on how to sketch a graph. So sketch a graph of the polynomial function having these characteristics. My bullets are f of x is increasing when x is between -2 and 3. F is decreasing when x is less than -2 and x is greater than -3. F of x is greater than 0 when x is less than -4 and when x is between 0 and 5, and f of x is less than 0 when x is between -4 and 0 and x is greater than -5. then use the graph to describe the degree and the leading coefficient of f. So I'm just going to kind of do something just a little different than what the book does. So if you want to watch their video on this, you can. But what I like to do is when we're talking about increasing and decreasing, I'm kind of looking at where the x's are. And I'm going to put a dashed line. So I'm going to put a dashed line here at -2 because it looks like it's between 2 and 3, -2 and +3. All right. So now I know on here that in between these two here, it's going to be going up. I know it's going to be increasing. All right. I know that on this side of that dashed line and on this side of this dashed line, it should be decreasing. All right. I know that when f of x is greater than 0 and x is less than -4. So on those ones there, what I do is I'm going to put on these ones here, I'm going to plot the points. So I'm going to plot the point -4. All right. And I'm going to plot the point 0. And it looks like I'm going to plot the point 5. All right. So now, right here, I know that this graph, the graph is above the x-axis. When f of x is greater than 0. And I know that the graph is below the x-axis. When f of x, again, f of x is just a fancy way of writing y, ladies and gentlemen, is less than 0. All right, so now I've got all of that. So I want you to draw, let's see here, let me put purple here. Draw graph through point and then change direction at the dashed line. All right, so let's see here. Why don't we, well, let's do one more thing here. I think that'll help you. So I want you to put, when it's greater than 0, right here, I want you to put plus signs. And then when it's less than 0, why don't you put negative signs? All right, so we know that it's going to be above here, right? We know that it's going to be below here because it's going to be below between these two right here, right? So we know it's going to be below there. We know it's going to be above here. And we know that it's going to be below here. All right, so now let's go ahead and kind of look what our graph is going to look like. So I'll go back to blue because that's where my dots are. So it's a positive, so we know it's going to be going here. And I know I'm decreasing, right? I am decreasing. And I told you I'm going to keep decreasing until I get to that dashed line. And then I'm going to change direction. And then I'm going to be increasing. So notice I am increasing from that dashed line to this dashed line. And I'm going to change direction at the dashed line. And then I know I'm going to be decreasing right there. All right. So I've done exactly everything that they've asked, ladies and gentlemen. And they want us to decide what the leading coefficient is going to be. All right. So again, from yesterday, we have to kind of remember what we have. So from yesterday, let's see here. I'll go ahead and go green. So what we can see here as x goes to negative infinity. So remember, as x is going this way, what's happening to y, or f of x? F of x is going to positive infinity. And then as x goes to positive infinity, f of x, again, so we would be going this way, and f of x, as you can see, is going to negative infinity. So kind of look at what we had yesterday, and if you do, you should see that our degree is odd, and our leading coefficient is negative. All right, so that is the last 4 problems on your homework.